The topic at hand is how to make the youth industry ready. Please put your hands together for our panelists. Joining in, thank you very much, ladies. Loving the enthusiasm. Please give it up for Miss Ayushi Arora, CEO and founder, Media Corridor. Please welcome Miss Madhvi Chaudhary, PR Manager, Media Mike. Please give it up for Miss Nehha Gupta, AVP Value 360 Communications. And sharing the session with us, we have Miss Shrabasti Mallik from Exchange for Media.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's welcome to have a lovely set of panelists with me here today for the event. And the topic we are going to talk today about is how to make the youth industry ready. And my first question would be that experts have noticed that there is a considerable gap between education and the ever-evolving PR practices that are going on in the industry at the moment. So according to you, how can that issue be addressed? If I can start with Nehha.
Thank you for the question, and I think it's a great panel because we are all women leaders right here. Answering your question when it comes to education and the ever-evolving PR industry and how dynamic this industry is, the most core point to address here is that many of us, we do get a lot of industry gyan during our college times from the industry leaders. They do come down, give us pointers on what is PR and PR tools that we are supposed to use. But unfortunately, when we come on the real battlefield, we are all clueless. We don't know how to resonate with the theory and practical. So it's very important to have an amalgamation of theory and practical coming together. It's also very important that on-the-job training is given to PR professionals, because I honestly believe learning is on the job in communications industry. It is nothing to do with theory. My suggestion is if education institutes collaborate with industry bodies like PRCI, this will help them to revisit the curriculum, course content, and accordingly we'll have smarter youth, more professionalism will be there, and that will also address the business literacy and business etiquettes.
Okay, thank you. Madhvi, if we can have your opinion on the same.
I totally agree with Nehha. So post-pandemic, the world has changed drastically. There has been a digital transformation in almost every sector, and PR is no less. So, and adding to it, the lack of academic curriculum to keep pace with the changing industry has really widened this gap. In fact, I was just talking to a colleague who has just joined our company, and she has passed out from DU, and it was sad to know that even premium universities like DU, who have societies and communities built for every other mainstream field, be it consultancy, campus placements, or marketing, advertising, they have nothing for PR. PR is not promoted as a strong foot mainstream field. And it's sad to know, but I really feel how this wide gap can be addressed is if we as PR professionals and all the youngsters, they really invest into self-learning and constant upskilling. Universities should really start exploring other ideas of engineering their curriculum. There should be internship-based curriculums wherein the students can work on real-time industry projects and get to know what they're planning to set their foot into in future. In fact, I would like to quote an example of a B school that I was working with for a campaign. So they have a very nicely engineered curriculum wherein they organize sessions regularly where they collaborate with new age founders, startup founders who come to the university, and the students get to shadow their mentors. The mentors who are not just the educators, but the real life mentors who they see on stage talking about great things. So it's a very good idea if universities could build a collaborative ecosystem wherein both can, nurture the youth together.
Thank you. Ayushi, as a founder of a PR firm, how do you see this problem?
So I'd like to talk for the motion, which as against what the two of you said. The gap is there. That's definite. Okay. Why the gap is there is because the PR industry is evolving, and it will always be. You can't therefore change the foundation ground of what public relations is. The theoretical knowledge that the institutes are, imparting to the students, for example, you can't change that. What can be done, however, according to my opinion, is you can redefine it, by running sessions with industry experts. Invite them to have an in-person session with your students. So they get the knowledge of an outside agency expert coming and talking to these young, vibrant professionals in future that they would be on what is the other side of the table like. You've not seen that world. You're just studying about it. So the foundation ground is set. But what is it going to be once you're out of this? Is what's happening in the agency side, the client side that we work with. So once you have that opinion shared with somebody from the industry who comes forward, educates them further about it, has sessions with them, that's when they'll be open to that. So I would say re-evaluating that, maybe in terms of more course curriculum-based quarter sessions that they can do is one. Second, I truly feel there should be an exchange program. Imagine that you have like your PGDM course in public relations that you're doing. Give 3 months of that to an agency that you get to work with. They certify you further, so when you're completing your course, you're just not ready. You're an industry-ready professional. When you're meeting somebody for an interview tomorrow, you don't just say, I've graduated from an X college, for example. You say, I already have a trainee experience. So I was a professional while I was being educated. And I say that, why? Because the college that I come from, so I'm from a journalism background, and I studied my journalism from Indian Institute of Journalism and New Media. We didn't have books. No books. No theoretical knowledge. It was completely practical. Go out on the fields, figure out a new story, come back. So I've learned it on how do you find a hard news angle, a soft news angle. So when I actually got my first job with Times Group, I didn't tell them that I've just about completed the course. I could bring to the table the case studies I've worked on, the stories I've reported on. Cut, copy, paste. If I do the same to public relations particularly, I would say when I'm interviewing somebody, I would love it if they tell me that they worked on an ex-client with an ex-agency, and this is what they brought to the table. That just adds more stars to their resume. So I'd like to end on that.
Okay, thank you. So there is no denying the fact that there is a gap between the PR industry requirements as well as when a future professional is studying the course. So how do you think that these young professionals can be engaged in the everyday operations of the PR industry? Like you suggested that during the courses they can have real PR leaders come in and have courses, or maybe the students can have a tie-up, or the colleges can have a tie-up with PR firms for the students to go through real courses. What are the other ways that students and young professionals can be engaged in the field so that they are industry ready? Nehha, if I can start with you.
Okay, so while we are talking, while we are addressing, we spoke about the gap, right? Going back to the first question, and now coming to the question that you're asking me, and I'm buying time here. So basically, it is not about what they can do when they are a professional or when they're joining a company. It is actually taking few steps back, and why don't we have internships or live projects when we are in our 11th grade, when we are actually about to choose a subject which is going to streamline my future career. Why I'm saying so is from a personal experience. So I started my career as a banker, and here I'm as a PR professional. If I was given this opportunity to do an internship or a live project at early age, I would have chosen right subjects, streamlined my life, and done less experimentation. So I have my background with various companies because I wanted to experiment because I had no experience. And then finally I found, one fine day I understood that, okay, this is a place I want to be in. And I have done enough experimentation, and unfortunately, employers don't even like that because we don't show stability. So finally, we came to a point that, okay, if internships and live projects were there, rather than just giving 40 hours to your theoretical knowledge without a basic insight and robust understanding about the dynamic communication industry has, things would have been much easier, right? So in my opinion, life projects and internships are super important, and that's how we can inculcate more understanding in the youth.
Okay, thank you. Madhvi, if we can have your point of view on this.
Yeah, so again, linking it to my first question. So we say that public relations is much of a learning on the job kind of a field, and we don't need really to be expert with our learning, academics, and theoretical knowledge. But again, like you need to have certain skill set to be able to perform in the field. And with the changing world each and every year, sooner than we expect, now just the core skills like writing, communication, presentation, research, etc. is not just enough. The bars have been set high. Now the employers need people who can be creative with their marketing mindset. They have business literacy because they're going to work with organizations, big organizations. They're going to work with startups who are, coming up with so much technology and innovative ideas. You need to have a mindset who can set foot into the entrepreneur's mind and think through him like what the company needs to do to be there with the public, to be able to target the public audience. And to have this, the youth should really have the youth should really develop a learning mindset to be able to keep up with the trends.
And if I could add here,
Yeah.
Yes,
most
please.
of the times we're taught that be adaptive, be flexible. Like us as employees also, we tend to say the same to the youth. I think rather than being adaptive and flexible, today's youth needs to be very curious. Curious to learn, unlearn, relearn, and just do it throughout your careers. Have that kida of experimenting, go out, talk. And that's how you can actually further grow in your careers.
Thank you. Ayushi, if we can have your views on the same.
We are the youth,
Yes,
by
we
the
are.
way.
We are.
We're in this session. I don't know if we should have been there or somebody rather older, but if we are the youth and we are in this session, I'd say, I wish somebody told me this in school. Just be disciplined. So I was an elocutionist. I would just win every elocution award that I would go for. Little did I know that that would help me mature into a public relations professional that I am today. I think that set of knowledge should start early in your school days. We had consultancy sessions. We were open to psychology, marketing, etc. that was introduced to us based on our skills. I wish somebody at that point in time would have told me, study public relations.
So you mean to say that public relations should be inculcated in the curriculum from
Yes.
school level?
Yes, there are some B schools, not naming them though. Marketing books of theirs, by the way, just have a paragraph on public relations, just a paragraph. A relative of mine, he's young, he's just about completed his MBA, and he tells me, okay, I know what you're doing. It's a paragraph of what he studied, okay? So he's like, oh, I know what you're doing. I was like, lovely, you've studied about it. So we can talk finally, because public relations as a terminology does not go down well with people in terms of what is it? They don't understand that well. So this young boy says, I know what you do now. And I talked to him about it. I'm using words such as crisis communications, influencer marketing, pitch notes and press releases. I've read about it. So I was like, so? He's like, I've read about it. He's just read about it. He's not really involved in it. So it means that I'm not saying just the PR institutes should have somebody from the agency side coming forward and talking to this. Even the MBA institutes, even the management colleges should have an open ground where public relations professionals should go out there and talk it out. Because they are the leaders of tomorrow as well, coming up with a lot of startup ideas that they have. PR would ride the wave for them. For once, they can give up on digital.
They can give up on digital?
For once.
Okay.
The PR person has the power to convince with a compelling story idea that they have.
Yes. In our discussion earlier, Nehha, you were mentioning that you would like to ask Ayushi a question.
So Ayushi, since you've just started a company,
Okay.
right? So since you've just started a company and you must be attracting a lot of youth resumes coming in, what's your first question when you're actually interviewing the youth? and what are the qualities that you're observing? Again, from my experience, I would like to share, when I went for my first interview, I was asked, what's the experience that you have? And my response was that I didn't get experience in my mother's womb, so I think you're the one who has to actually give me experience. So what's your question, and what are the responses that you get?
So when I get resumes, whether from PR background or not, I consider myself lucky and fortunate if I get a resume from somebody who's coming from a good agency experience, much like you all here, and I would have the opportunity to work with them thereafter. I feel blessed there. But then I also get resumes that they've just about started their career and they're ready to learn. So I evaluate both. But to both of the profiles, I just say, please, just please, on whatever do you do, just think like a journalist and pitch like a PR. Because the person you're talking to is very much dependent on the byline that goes. For them, that matters. So don't focus on just who your client is. Focus on making that story idea interesting enough for the journalist or the media influencer, I should say, to ask you in turn, oh, that's a great idea. Tell me about who your client is. Turn the table around. So I believe in pull mechanism, and that's what I focus on doing when I'm working with team as well. And that's the kind of youth I hope I can work with in times to come as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Coming down to my last question is that you all mentioned that a hands-on industry experience is quite crucial for anybody who's planning to join the industry in the coming days. So what provisions do your agencies and firms offer to these young generation who can learn the ropes and dedicate their time and energy and talent to this field? Nehha, if I can start with you.
So at Value 360, we empower the youth, right? And also we follow a training module, which is flipped learning module. So it's not the senior team leaders, it's actually the managers who are directly working with the teammates. They're the one who identify the skill gap and propose a training for that particular teammate, right? So it's not a blanket approach or one size fits all. It's an approach individually, whatever gap is there, we try to fulfill that gap by providing a training. And the another thing I would say, as industry professionals, we need to pass the baton of knowledge and understanding to the new joinees. So that's what we try and maintain and do.
Do you also, does Value 360 also take in somebody who is looking for experience for their courses, or train somebody who has like a course mandate for their graduation degree,
So
like an internship?
So we do internships, so we do have internships, right? So apart from internships is the training modules that we introduce. So we do entertain and welcome resumes of interns who would want to come and work with us.
Okay, thank you. Madhvi?
So I'm from Media Mike, and we are basically all about freshers. We are day in, day out just looking forward to hiring freshers, because the creative mind they bring along is very important to understand today's brands. Today, the news is just available at the tip of your finger. There's so many events, so many social events going around, and the youth is the best bet here. They are the most socially engaged, they are the most socially conscious ever than before, and having them on board not just really helps us have innovative ideas from the social media perspective, but also it helps them understand what the brands are doing, how this industry really works, what they need to build more strong on, to put that on their resume when they go forward, how to equip themselves for the leadership roles they're going to take on in the careers moving forward. So apart from this, I personally basically validate a lot of support from the feedback I take from my juniors. I am all about, there's no shy that I do make mistakes, and I'm looking forward to what they have to tell me. I'm really looking forward to, again, what I say they should have a learning mindset. I have that too. I keep learning from what they tell me, and I impart that in a stronger form way forward.
Thank you, Madhvi. Ayushi?
You guys cover all the points. I have two to add though. So I'd say when somebody joins Media Corridors, and if they're looking at a learning session, because all of them are, we do two things. First is giving them a mentor, Could be a colleague sitting right beside you, could be your immediate reporting person as well, could be the boss, that's up to you. That buddy system is something we follow very seriously, very, very seriously. Could be highs and lows in media pitches that you've made that really impacted you. Could be a day where there's been a lot of work and a pressure from another client that's coming in, so focusing becomes a problem, and a lot of and these are not HR-related issues. These are honestly operations-related, work-related issues. So that's why we have a buddy mentor system at work. Everybody has one, and they can nitpick. So that's that. And we're a team of 12, to highlight that. And second, I'd say what we focus on is industry PR knowledge. If there is a finance client that we have, we request them to come have a session with the team, because while they are first educated that even if it's finance, under finance, markets PR is different, finance technology PR is different, valuations PR is different. To your client, it's the paper, it's the electronic media, and they all want to be profiled in that. To the PR, however, education has to be given from the client side on what they do. Come educate them. To the PR, however, we focus on industry side knowledge on how it's to be done. While that's just one sector I focused on, we also focus on certain others, wherein we call the industry experts as our clients directly to come have a conversation. That's it.
I think the time's up. Thank you so much for joining me today. I had a lovely session.
Thank you, Shrabasti.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies. Audience clicking pictures and taking videos. Please do not forget to use the hashtag if you're planning to post any pictures or videos or any comments about this event across any of your social media platforms. Please use the hashtag E4MPR 40 under 40